Oh, there we go. Okay, so we are live now. Okay, so we've been sitting here talking and forgetting about time, but I am Chantelle Rodgers and I am so excited to be here with Johanna Vendel. We just happened to, well, we did a podcast together and we just ended up, you just ended up being one of my favorite people. And I just feel so blessed to know you and so yeah, we've just been sitting here talking, and one of the cool things is you came out with a magazine today. You've got a podcast, you've got your book awards, the prestigious Hope Book Awards. Did I say that properly? Prestigious
The prestigious International Hope Book
Hope Book
Awards.
Awards, and now your magazine came out today. Like, and I love a lot of people. Obviously, I can always find something good about people, but the people that I like to sit and connect with are people that live from their hearts. And when I did your podcast, you were so genuine and you were talking about your book awards and you were crying and telling your story about why you're doing what you're doing. And that just put you in my top five. Like this is somebody that really is doing something that they love. And the funny thing about this is because I had such a good feeling from you, I just really wanted to support your work. Like I love to support people that are doing good work in this world. And so I entered my books into your contest and now I've won 3 awards and I'm like, holy crap, I wasn't thinking I was going to win anything. And so you've literally changed my life because now I'm
Oh,
starting to see that maybe writing is something that I am good at, where I just thought it was something healing for me. I didn't know if it was something people would really enjoy.
if I can say something, yes, I am Johanna Vendel, and I have read your books now. So let me tell you, Chantal, the way you write is very heartwarming. You write um, also from things that happened to you in your life. That is what the Give Me Hope with Joanna and the prestigious Hope Book Awards is all about, is because you write from your heart. Um, I love nonfiction books and people telling the stories of how they got up in life because sometimes life breaks us down. Sometimes a lot of things happen in our lives. And with you, that I've read about, you had your cancer and you've been through a lot of depression in your life. And there's things that happened with your little girl at the time. And you went through some hard life experiences yourself. But what I love mostly is how you got up and look at what you are doing now as well. You're helping people. You don't think about yourself. And that is the kind of people that I am drawn to.
Hmm. And it's just we've all had these hard journeys and what you just said is so powerful because that's what I always did was got up. Like I've been on the floor so many times, and that's what I wrote about in my book because,
Mhm.
the reason I write also is because I get very frustrated and overwhelmed. And I feel like when I sit down and write, if I write down what's in my head, I feel like God pulls me into my heart. And like as you read my books, usually by the end of the chapter, I'm seeing clearly, like I'm seeing from this
The
space that,
light, I could see that, yes.
yeah,
That you feel lifted again because you write and you write the heavy things down. And then all of a sudden, it's like you've got this release. That's
Mm,
why I personally also love writing and reading, especially reading other people's stories. It's very important to read other people's stories, Chantal. And if you have not read my story yet, you should go and read my story. But you need to read my very first book
mm,
of when I first was broken down, so down that I could not even think of wanting to get up. I was at a stage where I felt like I wanted to take my own life because um, I couldn't even think about living in this world all by myself. I did lose my entire family, one by one, over the years. My book is called Life Think Again. And if you think about life and you have to think about life again, life can be good to some people, but then life can treat other people differently. And I feel sometimes life treated me unfair because it took my entire family from me. And I needed to learn to either live without them or take my own life to be with them.
mm,
But then you have to look at what has God given you
mm,
in your life. At that time, I only had two children, and I'm thinking of taking my own life. I mean, that was only when I lost my dad and my twin sister at the time. And already then I felt like life was too heavy and I couldn't bear with it. But by the end of the day, I tried to not think about taking my own life because someone else that I knew at my son's school, she took her own life. And the first thing that came up in my mind was, what about her children?
mm,
And then all of a sudden, I had this little voice in me that said, yes, what about your children? And you thinking about taking your own life? That's not nice. Think again, you know?
You know,
And that's where my think again came in. I wrote a song called Think Again, but in my language it's called Dink weer, think again. And the words came to me, Johanna, if you think that God does not love you, think again. If
mm,
you think that you are not his child, think again. And after everything that happened up to there, I took life different. I realized that first I have to say my personal yes to Jesus. I need to invite him into my life, but personally, because I always thought I was a Christian. And because I grew up in a house where my dad preached, and first he didn't preach. That's another story for another day. But he preached, and I came out of a house where we went to church every Sunday. Not just every Sunday, we almost went to church every day because every day there was something going on. Like either we practice for choir or we practice or we do this or that. So there was always something that we did. And I always thought that I did have Jesus in my life. But then you grow up and you realize that you have to say your own personal yes to Jesus. You can't just think, oh, Jesus is in your life because your parents made a promise when you
mm,
were a little baby and baptized you. Now you have to say your own personal yes because you have to take your own life into your hand. And that normally should happen at the age of about 16 when you become an adult or 18 when you become an adult in the church, you need to know that your life, the choices that you make in your life now, you have to put Jesus in your life. You need to make that choice. Do I want God in my life, or am I just going to be a rebel and do what I want, or this or that? And what does God have in plan for you? You don't know how your future is going to look. For now, you are just so happy and you are alive and you have the whole your whole family and everything's fine, and you have no idea that maybe tomorrow you're not going to have a sister. Maybe tomorrow you're not going to have your father or your mother or another sister or and another one. I mean, I had three sisters and one brother. That's my siblings. I grew up with them in one house, and I've lost them all. For 6 years now, I have been without them, grieving. And my voice that came to me was that I needed to get up. And I also started to write. I wrote my book there, Life Think Again. I've never written anything in my life. And as you can hear, my original language is not English, it is Afrikaans. And I struggled a lot to write this book because I am a writer, I'm not a typer.
Oh, I see.
So I've never really worked with a computer before because I also have been a medical massage therapist. Um, Now, for 5 years, I'm a medical massage therapist, but before that, I was just a massage therapist and a beautician and a nail technician and in the beauty industry and things like that, making other people look beautiful and, and that's that, making them feel um, self confident. That's what I do. I think I'm a server.
Mm,
I like to give. I'm not normally a receiver because people who used to give to me, they are all gone now. It's my mom and my dad. They used to at least give me some kind of love. And I'm not talking about products or gifts or things like that. I'm talking about just the gift of love. So, yeah, life is tough sometimes. If you have to think now about life again, then you have to think again. So, yeah, any questions that you want to ask me? I'm just bubbling away.
well, no, I love this because this is the reason why I've always been drawn to, like, it started out with making videos and then I started writing, but it's because I keep thinking I can't be the only person going through this. Like, I've been in the healing industry since 2007 and I absolutely loved, the energy medicine and the spirituality and everything that I learned and everything that I did. Like we were talking before we started, like when I started my journey, I've never even heard the word intuition. I didn't know what it meant. I had severe chronic abdominal pain every day, and I heard that this system helped somebody's, migraines. And I had grown up Catholic all my life, so I had some worries like, what is this stuff? Like, right? Um, but I went for the first session and all my pain was gone. But what she was telling me was all of the fears that I was holding about getting pregnant because I couldn't get pregnant at the time either. And so it drew me in. And so as I started, it's a very intuitive process. And so I started to connect to people that had passed through the years. I started to, have these psychic abilities where I could see the past, where I could see people's bodies, I could hear their thoughts, I could see their future. But then there were these points where I had to make a decision. What do I really want to know? How valuable is this? And is it helpful? And so, when we were talking at the beginning, that's what I wanted to say is I've really shut down a lot of it because I don't want to know the future either. But what I do tend to see is feelings of hope that I can share with people about their future, about the future of the world. So that's about as far as I go into the future now. But we all have these gifts of intuition. And to me, I feel like it's the Holy Spirit speaking to us, guiding us and leading us.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So that's where I'm always really drawn to share the message, because I feel like through these healing systems that I've seen, everybody wants to talk about how everybody wants to talk about their wins. Everyone wants to talk about what they've overcome. Everybody wants to talk about, come for a session with me, come for a workshop, and we're going to free
Mhm.
you of this, and we're going to heal this, and we're going to do that. That is true. But what people don't share is it's piece by piece by piece. You face some fear and you free it and you feel really great in
Mhm.
that area of your life. There's always
You
more.
move on, move forward.
And I've always been told, don't tell people that, because then we're not looking like we're good healers if we still have problems. And I always thought, well, that's lying, because we're all a
Mhm.
fucking mess. Sorry, I don't mean to offend you with my language, but I guess you've read my book, so you know my favorite word is the F word. Um,
I just closed my ear every time. Mm.
I was just like, oh, I feel so bad for her because I know she doesn't really like
I'm
those
gonna
words.
speak to you about that, little missy.
Oh, that's funny. But I to me it's more important for me to be honest, and that's where I've been really diving into the writing. And that's also why I've been so unsure about my books, because they literally say 100% there's going to be pain always. And everybody that I know, I've lost a lot of people in my life because they're like, you can't tell people that. People want to hear about the joy. And I'm like, but I don't feel
No.
honest.
Yes, people don't just want to hear about the joy because people are very competitive nowadays. They all want to know only the nice things in life. And my whole platform is not about people that just want to be nice. We
Mm,
first need to know what made you nice, because the life was not always nice. And if people know how you started off and where you are now because of everything that you've been through, and how you are now helping people get through get through things, then they will understand where you come from. I mean, after I have now also spilled a little bit of tears here on your podcast, um I move forward from my heartbreak, but when I speak about it, I feel like I live in the moment sometimes, and I feel that my heart is still broken. But
mm,
then I look 6 years down the line now. And then I have written 6 books already. And in my 6 books, my second book, I went through navigating through losses and grief. Think again, because people differently. And then you move forward again and you're like, life feels a little bit lighter, because now I've been through the 5 stages that I've written about in my book. And I feel like I am my own psychiatrist in a way, helping myself to get through the grief, get through the losses, and get through life dragging you down. And you're gonna get your moments, and the moment just come like that. There's moments that you can feel boom, and you are frustrated. You cry, you go on, you like, I can't do this anymore. After you cry, you stand up and you're like, yeah, I can do it. I can do it. If she can do it, I can do it. and that is what
Right.
we need to know. We need to know that this person isn't all perfect. We all are just human. We all do things the same way. We eat the same way. We do things the same way. We go to the bathroom the same way. We are all human. No one is perfect. And if there's anyone out there that says they are perfect, well, I'm glad for you.
Well,
Nobody's perfect.
here's something interesting because I've always been so interested in the thoughts because my thoughts have gone from, tempting me to kill myself daily to, the healing that I've been doing because I really truly believe that cancer showed up in my life to help me learn how to feel our pain because people don't even hear that there is pain. So, how do they learn how to feel their pain? And I feel like that's why we're all walking around like these ticking time bombs because there are not a lot of sources out there saying, you gotta feel it. Like, I'm sorry, but you gotta put your hand on your heart, feel the emotions, notice those thoughts. And that to me is the only way to free it, which is actually healing us. But to me, what I have found, and the most important thing in my life, is my spiritual connection. And when I feel that connection with I call it the divine, everybody calls it something different. But to me, when I feel that, what I feel we're doing is we feel safe. We know that we're loved. Like you said, we're God's children. It's all working out, even though it's hard. Well, when we're starting to really believe that, all of those core wounds that we have that are telling us we're not good enough and, everything that we've experienced as children, that's automatically starting to fade because neurons that fire together, like nerves that fire together, wire together. So we're no longer addicted to these old things and we start to crave the love of God in the moment. Like, it's so simple. It's just hard. It's not easy though because it hurts. But man, when we start to learn, like the book that you had just read about mine, there's always peace on the other side of the pain. And
Yes.
one thing I just needed to tell you, I sat outside last night and I read that email you sent me and I bawled from the second I opened it.
Oh,
Every single word that you said was like, it's like I've just always dreamed this whole time. My life has been really challenging with my business too, and how my everything's changing, and it's supposed to be that way, but it's hard. Being a single mom and dealing with finances and making decisions that I'm just going to work for God.
mm,
That's hard. But to sit down and read those words, it's like I've always dreamed of somebody saying that about my book. And here you were saying everything that I've dreamed of hearing.
when I write reviews, I make sure that I try to read the book that I write a review for. And I've had many reviews on my book, and I can tell you, I think they copied my
Mm,
piece at the back of the book. They put it through chat or something, and they write a review that way. And when I started this business, I said to myself, if you write a review, Johanna, you will write it from the heart. You will write it from the deepest place. And things that catch me is the things that comes from that place in your story where
mm,
you were broken, you stood up, you changed your life. And I make sure the people know that I've seen that brokenness first before I see the glory at the end. And write from my heart and give you the feedback that I think um, you are all about. Not just your one book or your two books or the three books that you entered. But now you take the one book and the second book and the third book and you put them all together and you see the person behind those little stories, and you can see that person's life, how you put your life in those stories yourself as well, you know, and how you portray the stories. um, it is amazing to see how you write, Chantal. You must never think that of yourself, because you are a good author. And I look forward to reading more of your stories, because I would like to see this these different chapters in your life, and how God is using you to uplift others through your work. And I can definitely see that. I mean, and those words that I wrote, it came out of my heart.
Well, it's interesting. I actually put the book right here. My
It's so
little
cute.
the this book, this is the first book that I wrote, and I woke up one morning. I was having a lot of trouble with my son. He had a lot of anger issues, which I later figured out were my issues. Um, but I wrote the book in an hour. I sat down on the deck and I was never a writer. I had never written anything before. I sat on my deck and I saw these characters, and the story wrote itself in an hour. And I was like, well, that was interesting. And then,
That's how it works, eh? It just comes. When it
yeah,
comes, it's like you can't stop. You just have to like write, write, write.
and
Uh,
then I asked my kids questions, and so my son helped me, and he named some of the characters, and then later my daughter drew the ladybug, and it was such a special it was such a special thing. Was this before? I think I wrote the book before I got cancer, but published it during the cancer journey. I think that's how it worked. Yeah, anyway, so it ended up being a really interesting time.
but it's just the way you describe the little animals. It's so special, because you can almost think it's not animals, it's actually children.
Well, and that's how it felt. And my mom was alive at the time, and it was just really special for you to say those words, because she really loved that book. She really believed in that book, and it really
Oh,
just started my journey, because I didn't know that I liked to write or that I could write.
yeah, no, and I mean, how many books do you have on the market, you say?
12 now.
My goodness, no, that just wants to be done, hey. And I can just see that you are not done,
Oh
because you have so much to give. I can tell you that. Don't stop. You are doing a good thing, and the people who needs to hear your story, they're going to read your story, and the people who needs to be in your life, they're going to be in your life. That's how life is. Some people come into your life, some stay, and some move on. Some teach you lessons, and you don't like it sometimes, and they move on. But then later in life, you come back and you're like, you know what? Maybe that person did teach me a lesson in my life. But that's all things that happens in our lives that makes us stronger. You know, and me also now, after written my sixth book now, um, and it's called Still Standing. I have taken it and I have let me just get it here as well. Still Standing.
okay.
And I this book is like, oh my word, I have overcome so much in my life. And my way of writing, being an Afrikaans person, now writing in English, and writing six books later, and you see how much I've improved as well, that now I'm editing and I'm formatting other authors' books, and I'm helping them to self-publish their books, and do all of these things for them. I have been sitting in front of my computer literally almost for the last 6 years now. I can't stop you
Oh,
know but
well,
Still Standing is like such a powerful book, where I'm reflecting back on everything bad that happened in my life, and I realized that, God, He doesn't want bad things for us in our lives. And when something bad happens to you, I think it is the devil that makes all these bad things happening in your life. And that God, He is the one holding your hand, walking through you, while walking through the pain, while you are sitting down in that corner or lying on the floor crying. And He says, "Come on, get up, get up." And He's giving His hand out. And sometimes we have to first be there to realize that hand that God is giving, and that it's not Him putting us there. Because we always say, "Why does God do this to me?
Mm,
I'm a Christian." But it's not God doing it to you. It is the devil doing it to you. God is the one that's getting you through it. And if you take His hand and follow in the direction that He puts onto your heart or your mind, when we think about our thoughts, that is something, someone talking to us, not just us, but our my dad always used to say, the heart of the mind, the heart of the spirit. Um he God speaks to us in our minds. So if it's either you have God in your life, in your holy ness, like the Holy Spirit is inside you, or you have the devil inside you. Or when you are broken down, or something's happening, it's like you opened a gap to let the devil speak to you and say you are not good enough. No, get him out. Get him out, and just keep God in your life. And you will see the difference, because if you read about my stories, if you see now how I am saying I am still standing, then you will realize what I'm talking about. It's a very powerful book. It's a very positive book now. I reflect back a lot on my things that happened, and how I used to see it, and how I see it now, and
mm,
how powerful it is that you turn your bad things that happens in your life around, and you're talking about good things now, and you make things happen, like my magazine that's launched today. Literally 30 minutes before I came on to this podcast, I pressed the published button of my
wow.
very first volume of Voices of Hope magazine that was launched today.
I'm really, I'm really excited because I like to read. I like watching inspiring stuff on TV, but the thing that bugs me is I don't know where to go to find the good reads. And I don't like to read a chapter and be like, ugh, this is just a waste of my time. But now I'm like, oh my God, everything that you're doing, I can read all of these books now and just be like, I know they're all going to be winners. Like they're all going to be good. And that's so exciting.
Of my books?
Well, all of the people that you have in your magazine, all the people who
Oh,
are winning awards, now I'm just like, well, now we have a place to
you
go.
know, and their stories are very powerful. That's why they are drawn to my Voices of Hope and
Right?
my prestigious International Hope Book Awards, is because of their powerful stories. And that is when we can now know that we are not alone.
Mm,
There are a lot of people out there, the same as us, normal people with broken hearts, that got up. So if you have a broken heart and you are sitting down today, you know what? Take my hand and get up. I'm gonna take your hand.
wow. That's really, really, really beautiful. And yeah, like it's just so powerful because it's real. I felt alone my whole journey. And, because I'm sharing my journey and I listened to my inner voice, now I'm finding people like you that are spreading these stories. And now it's like, wow, this is so beautiful because of us and people like us, other people don't have to feel alone, because that was the hardest part for me, is thinking I'm crazy, like it was really, really hard just not knowing if, like, you're wanting to work for God, you're listening to all of this stuff, you're cutting this out, you're saying no to this doesn't seem sane. But the more I felt God, the more I just knew. I mean, especially, I don't know, did I ever tell you this story about when my mom died and I felt the Holy Spirit or just washing through me?
I
That was,
think you wrote a little bit of that in your book as well.
oh, that's right. Yeah,
I don't think you told me that. I think I read about it.
yeah, I mean, when I was on the operating table for my first cancer, that's the first time I felt God's, like, I saw it and I felt it. I just felt this presence of God in front of me. And I just started crying and saying, thank you. And here I'm going for surgery all by myself, not knowing what the heck is next. I just got diagnosed like minutes before,
Mm.
or hours, I guess. Um, but to feel that and to be saying thank you, and then multiple times through my cancer journeys, the same thing happened. And so now it's like, well, I'm not just thinking about God or learning about God, I'm feeling it. And that to me is just like, there's something so powerful that is leading us and guiding us.
Definitely.
I'm so grateful, because had I not been close to death all those times, or my mom dying, I don't know if I would have had the experience to actually feel that. And feeling
Yes.
that, it's changed. Nobody could ever argue with me that there's a God. I wouldn't even waste my time, because
Yes, me too.
you know, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yes. You know what I also have noticed that, you know how you sometimes think, I ask God so many times for this and this and this, but God, He will give you what you need. You
Mhm.
know, He won't give you more than what you need. But sometimes if we need more, do you think that He's just going to give it to you if you don't ask?
See, this
Have you learned that you need to ask God for things as well? Look, personally, I would say one shouldn't say, God, can I be rich? Or God, why am I struggling like this? I think you can say, why am I struggling like this? Please, I need to pay my rent. And then, boom, God will give you enough to pay your rent. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But I've also noticed that doesn't matter what, God is only going to give you what you need. And yeah, that is like, it's so funny to say this because it's like everyone wants to do better in life,
Yeah.
But if we want too much, he's not going to give it to us. He
This
gives
is,
you what you need.
I'm going to share this with you because you're probably going to appreciate this. I've really, really wanted a book deal. I worked with a celebrity coach years ago who was a Hay House author. We were going to do some events together. Like, I always wanted to be on the stages and travel the world, be famous, make a shit ton of money. Sorry. Um, but when I got the award from you, the first one, I was like, whoa, like this could actually happen now.
And
And
it can get you onto a stage.
like, right? But I wasn't excited about it. It actually threw me into a really crazy spiral, and I was having some panic attacks. And
Hi.
yeah, like, and I have this friend in my life, and he is just like the most grounding person in my life. And he asked me, he's like, what do you really, really, really want? Like, is that what you want? And I was like, well, the things that are most important to me are my kids, obviously. And when I really sat with it, I went to bed that night and I just searched my heart and I just prayed to God for answers. And what I actually realized is I don't, it's not that I don't want to be on the stage, but I don't need to be in order to be effective. I don't need the book deals worth millions of dollars. And what I actually sat with in my mind in the middle of the night, because I did not sleep, I had this feeling come over me of sitting in a room with 15 people and touching their hearts and hugging them and talking eye to eye to each one of them and watching them leave that room a changed person.
Yeah.
I realized that's my life's calling, is to be it with small groups. So this whole lifetime dream, it was all rooted in this belief that I wasn't good enough. So I had to show people, I had to prove, I'm on stages, I'm making millions of dollars, I am worth it. And now I'm like, I don't really even want it. Like,
That's one thing also, that doesn't matter what I am starting to achieve now. It's also been my dream. To be honest with you, I actually wanted to become a singer. I love to sing. I love to write songs. That's what I first written was songs. And if you ask Alexa or Google, play songs by Johanna Vendel, they're going to play songs that I wrote. I have published five on Google there, and by the end of the day, I don't want to go stand on a stage and sing. I rather now want to go stand on a stage and tell my story about how I wrote the songs
mm,
that saved my life.
wow.
And it's not about standing on a stage and becoming famous. It's about touching
Mm,
one person at a time. If it is one person on a podcast like now, or if it is two people in a shopping center when you're standing in a line, or if it is a room with 15 people, by the end of the day, it is small little steps that is just touching people's hearts. And to become famous, I don't think become famous, you know, because there are so many other people who is so rich and have all the money in the world, who is famous and who is doing all they do. If I can just touch someone every day, then I feel famous already. And that is the difference between the other famous and God making place for you to get to know other people, because he puts people in your way for a reason. Like I say, some stay, some go, but somehow in your life, that person needed to be there for you in your life to make you know that you are not alone. For instance, that is my that's my purpose in life, is to make people know, even if you are alone, like me, still standing all by myself, I'm not alone. Because guess what? I know you now. I know other people who have the same stories than me. And that's supposed to strengthen you, to make you know that you can do this and you have a bigger purpose in life. You have to listen. You have to listen to that voice, that inner voice that speak to you sometimes. Take his hand. Get up. Listen to the voice. Do what you need to do. Do your purpose in life, because that is why you are still alive, like me, still standing.
well, I feel that knowing you and getting to know you and being a part of your vision has really truly shifted all of my goals all of my dreams. You've literally changed my whole entire life, which means like
You're touching my heart.
I feel like I can be effective now because I was living from fear and now I'm living from purpose because of you.
I am very happy to hear that, which means is I've touched one person's heart. I've done what I needed to do, you know? But it's not going to stop here. It's not going to stop here. We're only starting.
It's so, this is so exciting because every time I message you, I just think, oh my gosh, like she's just starting. Like, you just started
I
me, and I'm so proud of you because I know that when you do something that hasn't really been done before, it's really difficult. And that's where I am right now with my work. It's I want to show you this too. This is a chart that I just put together. These are all of our, internal connections that I was talking about, like connecting to God and connecting to the inner child and, the core wounds that it helps us heal and the emotional states that we go through. And
Hmm.
I don't know what this actually is, but I know it's some kind of a healing system that I'm putting together to help people really
I
connect.
don't know what this actually is, but I think it's a. Oh, that is so funny.
But you know what? We all have trauma, and I feel like what I'm really, really good at now is helping people heal their trauma. You know,
That is very nice to hear.
yeah, and so that's where I don't know where it's going to launch, or like I don't know what I'm doing, but something's happening anyway.
Well, I think you are also just starting.
Yeah, oh gosh, definitely. It's getting
Yeah.
exciting. I've been having, like I said, a lot of panic these last couple weeks, but that's my lack of trust. And so I'm doing everything that I can to just really feel like this is God's purpose. This is not my purpose. And when I let it
Yes.
go, then I know that everything's going to work out. Like, why wouldn't it? Like, I'm stubborn
Yes.
though.
No, definitely.
I'm still a bit of a
That is
stubborn,
that's that is how it should be, you know. You should feel that doubt, but you should get over it.
right.
Because sometimes, like I say, if you open up that little bit, the doubt is going to slip in.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to just stay closed, um, in the trust of Jesus. You should never doubt 1%, because that 1% opens up the door to someone else or something else, trying to be negative in your life. And if
Oh,
there are people that's negative in your life, close the door, shut the door on them,
yeah. Nail it
and
shut.
move forward. Move forward. You know what? Life goes on. There's
Yeah.
maybe other people who want to be in your life. I have lost a lot of friends, in my life. I think my grief was just too much for them,
Mm,
and they were not there for me when I was at my worst moment. I have one or two friends that is far, and they always message me and like they are here for me and this and that. But the ones that was here with me, they all scattered. I don't even know where they are. And eventually you see them going, hanging out with other friends and hanging out, and you were not invited. And then you feel cut out. I felt like that for quite a while. And then I just decided, you know what, maybe they shouldn't be in my life. Maybe they are some of those people who came into my life, was there for a while, and now I'm moving on. And now I'm building my own little circle of trust and people who feel the same as me.
mm,
And I am so happy that I'm starting to meet so many authors who write stories like me, and now I can honor them because they write stories like me. And that's what my whole prestigious International Hope Book Awards is about, is to be able to honor the authors that writes from a place where it was most vulnerable, um, at that time when they started to write that book, and
Mm.
how it lifted up their spirit. If I can see how people come from that place and they can turn their lives around, my goodness, you have saved my life today. Tomorrow I need another story, and my life can be saved again tomorrow, because I say, tomorrow is not promised. So we have to live for today. Make today the best day. Read stories of other people's stories, because you never know, that story might give you enough will to live again tomorrow. And if you do wake up tomorrow morning and your eyes are open and you're breathing, say, thank you, God. What can I do today? Who
Uh,
can I touch today? That's how I try to start my day every single day.
mhm.
I don't really speak about this, um, blah, like now, speaking it out to people, and this is what I do every day. But in my mind, I get up, I make my bed, and I say, what are we going to do today? We're going to try to take over the world.
I love that.
When I used to drop my kids off at school when they were little, I always say, what are you going to do today? And then they get out of the car and they say, I'm going to try to take over the world.
That is
Oh,
so.
my word. Someone is at the door,
Oh.
but I don't expect anyone.
Well,
Well,
one thing that I'm going to share before we leave
shh.
is when you said ask God, I am asking because I am going to manifest this ticket to go to your gala because I really, really want to be on that stage. So I'm excited about that. So we'll see. It's going to be a fun story to tell you how it happens.
It's all about believing in yourself and asking God to make the funds available.
Mm-hmm.
Tell Him what you want, and I promise you, He will give to you what you need, and
Mm-hmm.
He will give to you what He wants you to do. Because shoo, I cannot wait to meet you either. I'm gonna like give you such a big hug. I think I'm going to give a lot of hugs
Oh,
to a
can
lot
you
of people, because, reading people's stories like that. I'm so sorry that my dog is now barking,
Oh, that's
but
okay. I have a dog.
reading so many people's stories, and connecting with them in a different kind of way like this now, it is so amazing. And this is what life is about. Really, is just making those connections.
Well, I just keep thinking like this isn't just an awards ceremony. Like to be in a room with people that are so full of heart and hope, that's like that just hasn't been done before, I don't think. Like,
You know, I have also thought about that exact same thing, is that there are going to be so many people with so much heart.
yeah,
And neither me, I have also not been in a room with people with so much heart.
wow. That it's just going to be incredible. Like so incredible. So well, thank you so much, my dear, for sitting down with me, but thank you for everything that you're doing. I was just flipping quickly through your magazine, but I'm going to sit down and I'm going to make sure that I order a copy and submit something for your next one. Oh,
Yes.
oh, that's okay. We lost your video, but okay. Anyway, thank you everybody for joining us. We lost Johanna, but it was like I guess the time that it had to be over. So I thank you, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great, great, great day.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, there you're still there. Okay, I didn't know that you're still there.
I can
Okay.
hear you, yes, but I don't know. I can't see myself now either. But
Oh, okay.
thank you so much for having me, Chantal. We will definitely stay in touch, and don't ever stand back for anyone. All right, just be yourself.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Okay, well,
Okay.
stay just a sec. I'm just going to stop the live stream here.